Hi everyone, it's Jessica. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're talking quilt-alongs. So last week I posted a video letting you know of 2 quilt-alongs that will be going on this summer, and I asked for your input on the other ones. There was a lot of feedback and there were so many people who wanted to do all of them or a combination of them, so I just decided to go for it and schedule them all. So let's go over the schedules. Now I'm going to be putting all of this information below in the description because it is a lot, but I also wrote a blog post with everything spelled out for you there, and the link to that is below too. I'm planning for 5 quilt-alongs. The first one starts today, this week. It's the Scrappy Shining Stars. This is the Scrappy red, white, and blue block that I showed you last week. The pattern to this is below. This is a slow quilt-along, as I previously mentioned. It's going to go over 14 weeks. So it starts this week and it goes until the first week in September. I've broken down the schedule for you and I've let you know based on what size you want to make, how many blocks you need to make per week. I'm not sure exactly what size I'm going to be doing. I don't know if I'll do the throw, the double, the queen, the king. I don't really know, but I'm just gonna jump right into it and start making some blocks this week. I'm doing Scrappy red, white, and blue, just as is shown in the image of the quilt and as was shown in the block that I showed you last week. So it uses a lighter blue, a darker blue, a red, and a white. And I'm pulling from my scraps from this. That's what I'm gonna start with. If I have to add in some fabric, I will. Right now, I'm hoping to make this entirely from my scraps. This is what one of the blocks look like. My printer's not working right, so I would usually just show you a printout of the image, but I'm gonna have to show it to you on my computer. This is the double size quilt. You can see how the blocks come together to interact to form this beautiful pattern. We have these scrappy stars here in the middle and these beautiful red and white diamonds with blue centers. The next quilt-along is Starshine. Starshine starts on June 12th, and it's a 6-week quilt-along, so the final week of that quilt-along starts July 17th. Now, for this quilt-along, I was originally intending to make a red, white, and blue. I even had kits of it when we did the red, white, and blue bundle. I didn't think they'd all sell out, and they did, so I don't have any kit left for myself. So I'm currently thinking of color schemes to do this one on. I'm right now leaning toward a Christmas. I think I'm going to do a green background, and I think I'm going to do red and white blocks. So I'm going to show you a few of those images now on my computer. This is the original Starshine quilt. I used Ruby Star Society fabric for that. It's bright and beautiful. This is a size smaller than what I made. Mine had an extra row of blocks on the side and the bottom. This one is made with different blues, and I think it's stunning. Now here are 2 of the ideas that I had the kits for, and these actually are made up in the fabrics that I had in the bundle. So here's the white background with the red and blue blocks. Here's a light blue crossweave background with the red and the blue blocks. And then the final kit that I had was this one. It's navy blue crossweave, and it uses white and red blocks. And this is what I think I'm going to go with, but I'm gonna go a Christmas direction. So where the navy is, I'm going to be using a green crossweave. This is what I'm thinking. I'll use whites where the whites are and reds where the reds are. If I have whites and reds that are Christmassy, I'll sub them in. Otherwise, I'll just use red and white blenders. For this quilt-along, I've broken it up in terms of how I like to make a quilt, so chain piecing style. The first week, we're gonna be doing flying geese. The second week, we're gonna be doing the little stars. The third and fourth week, we're going to be doing the other component in the block, the diamond and the square units. Then the 5th and 6th week, we'll be assembling the blocks, and then finally the quilt. If you don't like to work with that and you want to go 1 block at a time, you're just going to take whatever size quilt you're going to make, divide it by 6 weeks, and that's how many blocks you need to make per week. Now the next quilt-along is Happy Go Lucky, and this is another one I talked about last week. This one is starting on July 4th. It's a 5-week quilt-along. So for the first 4 weeks, we're going to make 2 blocks each week. The 5th week, we'll make the final block and we'll assemble the quilt top. So this is July 4th through the week of August 1st. This is how I originally made the quilt, and that is the quilt that I showed you last week. And this is what I think I'm going to do this time, a patriotic version. This one uses Americana by Lori Holt. So I'm picking and choosing from her collection. In this collection, it's got reds, dark blues, kind of teal colors, yellow, and a little bit of pink. And I'm picking and choosing from that to make this quilt. Now this quilt only has 1 size. It's a large throw, 84.5 inches square. The next quilt along we'll be doing is for the Betsy quilt. This is a 2-color quilt. It's a really fun one. It has 3 different quilt blocks in it. They come together to make this beautiful 2-color quilt. Now, I've made the Betsy quilt twice before. I did it once in solid blue and white, and then I did it another time in red prints and white. So you can choose if you want to do solids or if you want to make it scrappy 2 colors. That's up to you. I'm going to show you a few color options now and what the quilt looks like. So the first time I made it like this with white, and then I did aqua color. Here's a dark blue version for you also. Here's 2 more color versions. Here's a pink one and a red one. Here is a yellow background version, and then if we flip the design around, here is a white background version with yellow blocks. And then going through the colors that we already looked at, here is a white background with aqua blocks and a white background with red blocks. And then finally, a white background with black blocks. I think that one's really stunning. So the Betsy quilt along will go for 6 weeks. It's going to start on August 8th, and it's going to run through September 12th. Now, the final quilt along that I have scheduled for this summer is going to be a sampler quilt. We're going to do the Holly Jolly Holiday quilt. I'm finalizing some updates on this pattern, so it's not available yet, but it will be in my shop soon. This is a sampler quilt. It's going to run for 13 weeks, and we're roughly going to do 2 blocks a week. That is going to start on August 21st. And it's going to run through November 13th. So we'll be finishing up before Christmas. This is a Christmas themed quilt. Let me show you what the design looks like. Okay, here it is. This is mocked up from an older collection a few years ago. So I'm gonna redo the mock-up, and that will be in the updated pattern. In the image here, it's using a mix of red, green, pink, and black. And we have a wide variety of blocks. So this is going to be challenging, just like the 2025 Scrappy Sampler. Really interesting because you're always making different blocks, and just super fun to construct. So I hope you're excited about all of these. You can pick and choose, do the ones you want. I hope you find something that you're interested in and that you'll participate, because it's really fun to sew these quilts at the same time as other people. Now, I've gotten asked questions like, what does a quilt along mean and what does it entail? Quilt along just means that you're sewing the same quilt pattern as someone else at the same time. For my quilt alongs, right now, I do not have any signups. You just jump in and participate. So I'll be posting videos here throughout each of the quilt alongs. You can follow along here, but also you can hop over to the blog post below and you can do a printable schedule for each of the quilt alongs. That way you can keep track of what you need to do for each week. And if you keep your project in a project bin or something, you can get that printout and stick it in the bin so you know where you're at with that quilt along, how long it lasts, what you need to do each week, and that will help you keep track of it. If you're going to try to do more than one, just print out a schedule for each one that you're going to participate in, follow along here on YouTube, and we're gonna make these quilts together. Now, if you have any questions on any of these quilt alongs or anything in this video, please just let me know. And if not, I'll see you back here soon. Thanks for following along.